to this episode of Junk Food on the Road. Today we are talking about
Denmark. If you listen
the
to
home of the Danish.
If you listen to our Swedish podcast, the last episode, then you'll realize that we accidentally talked about this a little bit already, because we did this trip together. This is the third stop in our Nordic adventure, which started in Finland, then Sweden, and then Denmark. Finland was a short stop, so we haven't recorded a podcast, and we've already been there before for a longer period, so we didn't do a podcast about that. But Denmark.
So it's been a few years since I learned that what we consider Danishes in Canada are, well, the person who told me about it was Danish and said they don't call them Danishes in Denmark, they call them Viennese pastries. But I didn't see anything called Viennese pastries, because what we learned while we were there is that the sort of what we consider Danish is about a process and not necessarily the exact form it takes, because we think of it as sort of multi-layered pastry with like a fruit and or custard center, and it's round. But you can get braided versions, you can get strudel-like versions, you can get like what we consider the Danish versions. We had one at a fancy 7-Eleven,
which is something worth talking about.
Yeah, that was called like a Studenauer or something. It was, I forget exactly what it was called, but it was a different name, but it's in that sort of Danish pastry family that the Danish people don't call Danish.
Danishes. So if the first question,
all yummy.
If the first question out of your mouth is, did you eat a Danish in Denmark? The answer is yes, but no.
Yeah.
So sure, but not. They don't call them that.
They don't call them that.
Yeah. So we could talk about the 7-Elevens there.
Yeah, those were cool.
Like there was, I don't know if all the 7-Elevens in Denmark are like this.
I don't think so, but they just have the fancy ones.
They have fancy ones, yeah. And so basically it's like a cafe. And so the best way to describe it has like a pastry counter, a lot of drinks, but then they also have like coffee and tea, like fancy coffee and tea.
And normal coffee and tea.
And they often have like another section for like,
but sort of in the
sundries,
way
but it's in the
back, like up some stairs.
Yeah, like one
like,
of those rooms was like upstairs, and there's like tables to sit and drink your coffee.
Next to the sunscreen.
Next to the sunscreen, which is weird. So, and they're very sort of classier and nicer, and it's more like a coffee shop that sells other things than it is like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah. It's obviously somebody brought 7-Eleven. They probably brought the original one in, and then all of a sudden, it just didn't work out, and the pastries are popular, and then they just went with that.
Maybe.
Yeah, like there's obviously.
But pastries are just everywhere there.
Yeah.
Like we went to a movie, and you could get a pastry.
Yeah, you couldn't get popcorn.
No popcorn.
But you could get
fresh pastries for sure.
Fresh pastries, but no popcorn. So.
Coffee and.
Yeah. Those are. I think. I mean, one of the themes of our Denmark trip was theme parks.
That is for sure.
So during this trip, we visited 3 theme parks, all for various different reasons. But I thought we could talk about them. In general, one of the things that I noticed in general about theme parks is beer and coffee consumption are humongous. If you go to the coffee places, or there's a lineup out the door.
And it's like $10 for a cup of coffee.
But that's like, theme park price. But
that's also Europe prices.
But there's like beer gardens and coffee places everywhere.
Yeah.
So I figure everybody's just trying to get slightly buzzed, but also stay awake.
Yeah.
Is what I get from theme parks in Denmark.
But we ate at a restaurant called the Beer Garden.
Yeah, that's
in Tivoli Gardens.
So I mean, I thought we could let's talk about each park. Like that was the general.
Well, that was the first one, was Tivoli Gardens.
The first part, Tivoli Garden. Tivoli Gardens has got several famous things about it. It's one of the oldest theme parks / amusement parks. Second oldest. It has the third oldest roller coaster in the world, which is appropriately named the roller coaster.
But in Danish.
But in Danish. And then it also is apparently the park that people say Walt Disney got inspired to do Disneyland. So that's it's when you go in there, you can see that 100%. Like you can definitely see, oh, he stole this and he stole that.
I don't think he stole it.
Well, he's inspired by it.
Inspired by.
But a lot of these theme parks have sort of your classic theme park food. Like there was a lot of hamburgers, there was a lot of like deep fried stuff, there was ice cream everywhere.
Cotton candy.
The cotton candy was gray in a lot of places.
It was white.
It was gray. It looked like an old man's beard.
It was fine.
It was so weird.
It was fine.
So the cool thing about Tivoli Gardens, it was their 100.
It just doesn't have food coloring in it. That's all.
That's weird. It's like it's not fluorescent pink.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like fiberglass. It looks like a beard. That's weird. But I got this was the 180th anniversary of Tivoli Gardens.
Yeah.
And I got an ice cream cone that celebrates it. And their ice cream cones, they're soft serve. Generally, the soft serve in Copenhagen was out of this world. Like everywhere we went, there was soft serve, and it was good. Like that was the ice cream of choice. Because we even went to that steak place, and the whole thing was their soft serve machine. Like every place we went, it was soft serve was like this big deal.
That's true.
And
like
even at
the fancy
Legoland,
place
soft serve machines, like that's what people wanted to do.
Yeah.
So soft serve is really popular. So I got this soft serve ice cream that was like super decorated. It was crazy. Like,
it had gold powder on it.
Yeah, it had gold powder, and they didn't dip it completely in chocolate, only half, and it had like a special wafer and everything like that. So.
Yeah, it was pretty extreme.
And it had caramel corn on it, which is a brilliant thing to put on.
Right. And we watched her make it, and it was like she placed each piece of caramel corn exactly in a. Oh, it was amazing.
The right place. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely see like sort of what we consider traditional carnival food is definitely a thing at theme parks there.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely a thing.
And what amazed me is we were at a theme park, but we were able to get good food that was thoughtfully prepared.
Yeah.
Not sort of slapped together like we were at the CNE or something.
Yeah, it's like they'll do just burgers and fries, but they'll be good burgers and fries. And one thing that I noticed that they have, and they have this I think almost at every place we went to, is they have like German themed stuff and a German restaurant. But like often you see a beer garden at a carnival or a state fair in North America, and it's just beer.
Yeah.
But here, a beer garden means like it has pretzels and schnitzels and like all kinds of good German food. And it's like, and they had that. That's what we had for dinner at Tivoli Gardens, and it was great.
It was amazing.
It was like an amazing German food thing. Oh, it was, and you just wonder. It's like I kind of look at carnivals and state fairs and be like, why do you have a beer garden without like German food?
Yeah, because like a beer garden is not a Biergarten.
Yeah.
It's like just it's a
German restaurant.
It's a fenced-in area where people can get drunk at party at
it's a bar.
And stuff.
It's a fenced-in bar.
Yeah.
Whereas a beer garden at the places we saw is like a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a German restaurant, and it's great. And so the German influence is there, but it's not just beer. It's like you get the food as well, and it was so good. We ate at a burger place at Tivoli Gardens too. It was good. It was sort of modern burger type thing.
It was modern burger, and it was made to order, and it was like responsibly sourced kind of stuff, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And the fries were somehow different. I can't remember.
Really salty, and they had like a flaky salt on them.
Yeah.
It was really good.
They were really good.
Yeah, yeah. So Tivoli Gardens, and we had some snacks and stuff, and it was everything we ate there was good.
Yeah. I think at some point we ate cake and coffee. Well, I had coffee and you had Coke. And
we had like a cake we split.
In this little atrium.
Yeah.
And this is a tiny, tiny park.
Yeah.
You can walk around it in 20 minutes, like around the outer perimeter, because it's right downtown.
Yeah, we did that actually.
Yeah.
We walked around it. But
then you go, and so you think it's like, wow, this is really tiny. We're going to be done in like 3 hours. And we went at
whole day.
rope drop at 10 or 11 in the morning, and we left at 11 at night.
Yeah, we watched everything, so it was intense.
Yeah, it was good. It keeps you.
And things are stacked on top of each other. One of the cool things, like the ice cream place, has like a Ferris wheel on top of it.
Yeah.
So like because of the space limitations, it's like food will be underneath, and like the beer garden was like right next to the roller coaster, which was next to the maze place or whatever, which was underneath the roller coaster.
Yeah. Like there was in the roller coaster sort of mountain thing.
There's all kinds of stuff.
There were 3 things.
Yeah, at least
3 attractions.
Attractions, and then there was also restaurants and like little food things and all that.
Like they've really used the space phenomenally well. Like I did not expect there to be that much stuff available, but it's just like the pillars of the big scary roller coaster are like form part of they're painted red, like the whole thing is painted red, and it's in sort of the Asian land, so it's forms sort of like the fake temple pillars.
Yeah.
That you walk through, and then this rattling roller coaster is going on over your head, and you're thinking an accident would just be like
catastrophic.
Yeah.
The other thing too about Tivoli Gardens is to note the word garden. It's still a garden.
It is.
Because there's still lots of plant life everywhere, so it really makes it like, even though it's crowded, there's plants everywhere, so it hides things, but it also like makes it feel nice and organic and nice.
And they managed to do that without making the park feel overcrowded, even though it was full of people.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I think that has some sort of magic dust.
Yeah. It's definitely, like I say, you can, again, if you go back to the Walt Disney thing, you can see how he got inspired off of that. Like, there's some things they do there that are amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So the other theme park we went to is Bakken.
The other one in Copenhagen.
The one in Copenhagen.
Because we did another one after that.
Well, yeah. Well, this wasn't really Copenhagen. It was sort of outskirts of Copenhagen.
But you said the other.
Okay. So another.
I'm being
weird. Another theme park we did.
Yes.
Is Bakken, which is just outside of Copenhagen, which is the oldest theme park in the world.
1500 and something.
Yeah.
1583, I think.
Some of the rides looked it.
Yes.
There was definitely some dated rides. We didn't stay there too long. It was a stop on our way. We were driving.
I don't even think we got food there.
I don't think we got any.
It was pouring rain.
But it was like Tivoli, but less options. There was a few restaurants that had like buffets and stuff. I remember we looked at one of the buffets and was sort of like, it looks okay, but you know.
Yeah, it didn't look great.
Yeah, it was pouring rain. We went on one ride, which we got in for free thanks to the guy running the ride, which was amazing because that's the one thing we wanted to. Our goal was to go on one ride in the oldest theme park in the world, and we did that with the generosity of this one man.
Yeah, because we couldn't figure out how to pay. You either had to get a wristband to go all day.
Yeah.
Or not ride at all, because like the website said that you could just pay as you go.
Yeah, but that really didn't seem like, we didn't understand how that worked.
No, and I asked the guy at the ride. I said, "How do we pay for this?" And he says, "Oh, you can't." I'm like, "Oh, but," and then I think I looked so crestfallen that he gave us a ride for free.
Yeah, wasn't the greatest ride, but it was the sentiment was wonderful.
Yeah.
So. It
was one of those rides where you're supposed to pretend to shoot at African animals on a safari, and at one point, like, the guns were so bad, and like it was just the little displays were so few and far between that I was like, I put my little sort of shooter away and I just sort of looked around at the.
And I, actually one thing we didn't talk about this in Tivoli Gardens, but these old theme parks, and a lot of them have like these old rides. There was a few times where I would either brush or hit my head on various elements in rides because I'm kind of tall and they just didn't care.
Yep.
There's none of this sort of keep everything out of arm's reach. It's like at one point, like there was the troll, I think, that Allison touched, and there's a dragon that hit, like a tail hit me in the head or something, and all kinds of stuff like that. So this ride definitely had a lot of that going on for it too.
I totally touched the troll on purpose.
Yeah. You'll never be allowed in Tivoli Gardens again. But yeah, so there was lots of back in lots of carnival food. It was like Tivoli Gardens, except probably less refined looking.
It was sort of like an old school amusement park.
Yeah.
It didn't have like theming or anything. It was like creepy clowns, inappropriate statues of Indians with cigars.
And like random theming, like there'd be like a ride that had octopuses all over it next to a ride like with cowboys all over it.
It was the kangaroo ride.
Yeah, the weirdest kangaroo ride ever. But it was, and they had a food section. Remember we walked by the kangaroo ride?
Yeah, there were like a bunch of restaurants and stuff.
They had like little kiosks with restaurants in it.
I don't remember if we got anything to eat there.
I don't think we did.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did we eat that day?
I think McDonald's along the way or something.
We
were driving to Billund, which is where we find our next theme park.
Yes, the last one.
Yes, and probably the most famous theme park. I don't think that many people know of Tivoli Gardens, except for like nerds.
I don't know. It sounded familiar to me.
I think Tivoli Gardens is I think people use that name too.
Probably. I think Tivoli is just Danish for amusement.
Yeah, like amusement or carnival rides or something like that.
Yeah.
But the last one we went to was Legoland.
Yes, we went to Legoland.
We went to Legoland in
We
Billund.
stayed in the Legoland hotel.
Yes, it was quite awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome, but we'll just talk about the theme park first. We'll talk about Billund after. We'll talk about the theme park first. And I will say that
we did have pizza again our first night there.
Yeah, strange. I will say the one disappointment about Legoland in the food was the lack of things shaped like Lego.
There's French fries at the buffet,
and
right?
chocolates that were overpriced chocolates.
Oh yeah, the chocolates, like you can get like the size of a finger of a Kit Kat for like $11 or something.
Yeah, so there's like overpriced chocolates, and then there's like French fries shaped like Lego, and that was it. There was nothing else, and I'm talking nothing like there's candy. They were selling like bags of candy, and there was even a candy store. They had no Lego block shaped candies, and I've seen companies. I know Lego doesn't produce one maybe, but there are companies that produce Lego shaped candies, so I know it can be done. There was no like Lego shaped, like you kind of expect everything to be Lego shaped at Legoland, like the food and everything like that. But it was pretty much, there was this buffet that was quite popular when I read.
Oh yeah, inside the park.
Inside the park, and it was, so we went there for dinner, or for lunch, and it was fine. I mean, it had your sort of standard meat stations and everything like that. The kids section was really weird though. I seem to, like the kids section.
There was a weird apple crumble there that didn't have any crumble in it. It was just
like
brown sugar, cinnamon, and butter.
Yeah.
With like little random bits of apple.
Yeah, and of course a soft serve ice cream station.
Yes.
So
that was a complete mess. It was disgusting.
A disaster. The weird thing I found about the kids section, and I think that the kids section had like like macaroni and cheese and stuff like that. And pasta. They would also have like pasta and sauce. The weird thing is
they had really good salads.
Good salads for sure.
Not in the kids section.
No, the kids section's always, whenever you want to get something, like they made it completely inaccessible for adults almost. Like I always had to like bend over in half just to get anything.
I think it's a kids section, so they made it.
But like, why not have pizza for adults too? I was disappointed about that. I had pizza.
I had already had enough pizza, so.
Yeah, you went for the meat.
I did indeed go for the meat.
And I did go. That is where I tried the Lego-shaped French fries.
Kids section.
And they were fine.
Yeah.
They were okay. They didn't really click together or anything. They were just sort of random Lego-shaped.
And we ate at the buffet one night at the hotel as well, and they also had Lego-shaped.
It was pretty much the same food, a little classier.
Yeah.
Oh, the weird thing about buffets, we can talk about this. You pay for your drinks.
Not in the one inside the park, but the one in the hotel. Yeah, we had drinks for extra.
Yeah.
Like soft drinks, not
soft
alcohol.
Drinks, yeah. Like, so we thought, we just get soft drinks. No, you pay for that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in everything.
And that buffet was not cheap.
Yeah, it was strange.
And there wasn't even coffee or tea afterwards. Like their breakfast buffet that comes with the room every morning was in the same room, and there were coffee and tea stations. It was all you could drink coffee.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the hotel. The thing about Billund is there aren't many options.
It's very small.
It's a very small town, and I think a lot of people who work for Lego eat either, because I think the Lego campus has their own restaurants and food and stuff, so I think people just eat a lot of that and eat at home. And I just feel like.
Explain what the Lego campus is.
So the Lego campus, basically Billund is where Lego was invented. And it's still their headquarters is still there.
The family, I think, still lives there.
Yeah, so
it's a family-owned corporation still. It's not publicly traded.
So there's two parts that are public in Billund of Lego, and that's Lego House and Lego Land. Lego Land we were just talking about. Lego House we went to a cafeteria type coffee shop type thing, and we got some sandwiches and some drinks. There is a restaurant there that's quite famous that has like a robot baker, and you order stuff using Lego pieces. Booked, solid.
You couldn't get a reservation.
Couldn't get a reservation. So it's fine. We had the one thing they had. I want to mention at the Lego House. Lego House is a museum about Lego. It's got a history museum that's also got sort of like a modern art museum type vibe to it. And then it's also got like play areas.
Super interactive.
Yeah, super interactive, and it was fun. It was great. But one of the things that the cafeteria had is they had the overpriced coffee from the Lego movie. So everybody gets, and apparently all the proceeds go to charity if you get the overpriced coffee. Yeah. So it was like $32 or something for like the overpriced coffee.
I think it was 32 kroner.
Maybe.
Versus like 25 for the normal.
Okay. So yeah, but it was an overpriced coffee, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And we just got basic. I think I got like a cinnamon bun or something there. Whatever. And
well, we had lunch there.
Yeah, we had lunch there, and it was good.
We had like some sort of sandwiches, and then I think we shared a cinnamon bun.
Yeah, or something. But yeah, it was. But Lego House, the food was fine. Legoland, the food was fine. Again, the disappointment was the lack of Lego shapes. Billund on its own, like if you're into Lego or if you're just even mildly fascinated by it, it's worth checking out at least once, I think. I'm into Lego and I loved it. I think Allison enjoyed herself and she's not.
I had a great, for me the best time, and this is nothing food related at all, the Lego campus, which is basically their headquarters building, has lawn around it that is made for fun.
Yeah.
So like there's a walking path that goes all the way around it, and it has like a little labyrinth thing on the path that you can do. You can do a little maze. It has markers for how far you've walked since the first marker. And then in the grass, there's actually signs that say things like play in the grass and cloud watch and stuff like that. And then they have these little sort of like balance wood things that you could play on as well. I actually have a video of Chris falling off of one.
And there's giant Lego ducks.
Giant Lego ducks, and there's like one that's upside down, and
there's a giant minifigure at the front of the building.
Yeah, so they've made it kind of fun and interesting, and from the path that you walk around it, you can see inside that the employees have a gym that they can use. So it seems like it's probably a pretty good employer as well. It was so fun playing on those wooden balancy things.
Just walking through the wilderness and getting the fresh air.
Yeah, and like they had like wildflower gardens and little benches and sort of fun things to sort of explore.
And it's basically right between the Lego House and Legoland. And if you ever go to Billund, don't get a car there. Like everything is within 10 minutes. Walk. So it's like it's a really small little town, and so you're totally fine. You're going to spend a couple days there exploring the Lego stuff. It's all walkable.
Yeah.
Well,
there's even a map that shows how many steps it is to get from the Legoland Hotel to the Lego House, which is probably the farthest thing you're going to do. And it does it in dinosaur steps, kid steps, and Lego minifigure steps.
Yeah, that was cute. But yeah, so Billund was basically exclusively theme parky food, almost
Lego
entirely, except for pizza.
Even Lego House, like the museum thing, almost felt theme parky, except there weren't any rides.
It feels a bit like an extension of Legoland. Like this is the educational part of Legoland.
Yeah.
The one thing about Lego House, which is food related, that we can talk about too, that is there's a lot of sculptures of food made out of Lego. So that was kind of neat. They just did the organic things, fruit baskets and things like that were kind of fun, and hamburgers
and at the end they have this thing. They have one of the Lego making machines, and so you can watch Lego being made. And there's a little display that says that they got this guy at MIT to do a calculation of how many different combinations that would stay together you could make out of just 6 Lego bricks.
Yeah.
And it's close to 1 billion or something. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, like 900 million something.
Yeah. And so then you go to like a little machine and you use your wristband. You use your wristband throughout the thing for various things. And it gives you your own unique 6 brick combination to build. And then you go to the Lego machine, and it just spews out little tiny packages of 6 bricks, and you just pick one up. I caught mine coming out of the machine, so it never even touched the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all the same color, of course, because it's just one machine. But we have these little sort of 6 brick packages with a little card that shows us what to bake with them.
Yeah. So we have bricks that were made in Denmark for sure.
We watched them
being made, and untouched by human hands.
Yep.
And we have a design that's our own.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
And I didn't want to open up the package, and Chris wanted me to make the thing. He's like, but you have to open the package and make it. So I actually made it inside the package.
Yeah, I did the same after she did hers. So. Yeah. But I want to talk about one other thing in Copenhagen, because I think we're done with theme parks.
Yeah, I guess so. Although I got the most ridiculous rib dinner at Legoland.
Oh yeah. It was the Western place.
Yeah. So for like, I didn't want French fries and like all the extras and stuff. I just wanted ribs and coleslaw. So there's like this dinner that's, ribs. It's a rack of ribs plus coleslaw plus French fries plus like a couple of other things. And then I saw that you could get side plates of like ribs and coleslaw. And so this whole dinner was like 350 kroner or something. And then when you looked at the side plates, it was like 25 kroner for coleslaw and then 50 kroner for a side order of ribs. So I asked the waitress, I was like, well, how many ribs do I get with a side order? And she said, oh, I think you just get one. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'll get 3 of them. So then 3 plates of 3 ribs came for like, 150 kroner or 75 kroner or whatever. It was like really cheap.
Yeah.
And it was actually ended up being the same portion as an extra large rack of ribs.
For like half the price of the.
For like less than half the price of what I would have paid for a small. And they were like, this is really weird. And so when I went to pay for it, I talked to them. I said, well, the waitress told me that you only got 1 rib if you bought this, which was consistent with what the price of the full dinner was. And I said I was not expecting to get 9 ribs. It was like 750 grams, like 3/4 of a kilogram of ribs. And Chris thankfully helped me eat them.
Yeah.
But that was just weird.
So I want to talk about Copenhagen, and I want to talk about the worst steakhouse and the best steakhouse.
Yes, and they're across the street from each other.
So there's 2 steakhouse. There's this one steakhouse in Copenhagen that I'm not going to say the name of it.
But it thinks it's special.
But it's like online, it gets like high reviews. Everybody loves it. You have to like book it in advance. And so we just walked in and they told us 5 minutes, and it was like 35 minutes we had to wait.
And then we sat at that and the table that we ended up sitting at was sitting there empty for the entire time. We were crowded in that crowded little lobby.
Yeah. There was a lot of empty tables all the time.
Yeah. And we sat there once we were seated, and we waited at least 30 minutes before wait staff to come.
Even drink orders, like just to acknowledge our existence.
Give us a menu.
Yeah. And so one of the things I heard about was, the salad bar. And I love salad bars. So I thought, oh, cool, I'll get a salad bar. Pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say that the sort of the hype was the dessert.
The dessert was pretty good.
The dessert was really good.
But we waited forever for it as well. Like we finished eating our meal, and then it was a half hour before they came and cleared our table.
Yeah.
And we had already pre-ordered the dessert.
I felt like we were there for like 3 hours for a simple meal that could have been in an hour.
Yeah. I think they try and create buzz by just not.
Yeah,
and there were certainly enough waiters.
Yeah, there was a bunch of waiters.
Too. Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought that at first, like, okay, maybe they just have like, short staff. So then a day or two, it was the next day, we went to another steak place because we
had brunch.
We had brunch, and it was really good. Like, so there's this restaurant, I forget the name of it again, but basically there's a restaurant, like a brunch restaurant that's like a bar where it's almost like a pub, but you can order sort of brunchy stuff, and then next to it is a steak place. And so we got the brunch there like our first day.
It was amazing.
And it was good. It was totally what we wanted and everything like that. Then after we'd had the bad steak experience, we thought, well, we had a good experience at this brunch place. Let's try the steak place. There was like half the staff of the expensive.
Twice the customers.
Twice the customers, but they were going through. They were polite. All the staff would say hello to us. It was a really nice experience. They sat us immediately. The food was 10 times better.
So much better.
And it was just like this amazing service. Yeah. So
I don't remember, it was
like Gloria's or something.
It was a woman's name.
Yeah.
It was right across the street from the hotel we stayed, which is the Comfort Hotel.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was one of the things we learned on that is definitely, you got to be careful with the hype.
Yeah. I don't think that place deserved the hype at all. And they sat there, and when I went to pay, they sort of just gave me the machine and waited for me to put in the tip. And I was like, well, the amount's not in there. And then they were like, oh, okay. And then they put in the amount of whatever. I'm just not going to tip.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
And tipping in Europe is pretty optional.
Yeah.
And they're like.
It was awful.
Yeah, it is like tipping to ensure prompt service, right? was neither service nor prompt.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty bad. And the food was mediocre.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The dessert was pretty good.
Yeah.
We could have just gone in and gotten the dessert to take out and gone away.
Yeah. So we had a 7-Eleven too. We had a McDonald's while we were there at least once.
We had a Max Burger in Copenhagen too.
Yeah, that's where I had by that point in Copenhagen, because we'd been in Sweden before and had Max Burger before, I'd kind of I decided to start exploring stuff. So I got the French fries. It's sour cream and onion French fries. What I envisioned in my head was maybe like just fries with like a sour cream with an onion, like sort of like almost like a dip type thing, right? Like a sour cream sauce with like onions in it is what I expected. What I got was that nacho cheese, raw onions, like a lot of them, and hot peppers.
To go with your burger that you held the onions.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because as we mentioned in our Swedish thing, at Max Burger, you can really customize things. So I'd always, no onions. But this loaded with onions by fries, and I'm just like, oh. It's just like, it was so...
Yeah, but I mean...
It was good. It was good.
You make assumptions based on your own culture, right? And then it's like, well, that was not the way they see things here.
Yep. It had onions and cheese.
They were pretty good.
They were good. It was actually really good. But it was just funny how, like, I got this thing. I'm like, oh, my God, this is not what I expected at all. And then kind of threw me off a little bit. But it was good.
I'm sure. I don't think you ate most of the onions.
I don't think I ate any of the onions.
I think I ate a couple of your onions.
Yeah. But yeah, I think is that it for Copenhagen? The Little Mermaid statue, way overhyped.
The alternate abstract Little Mermaid statue is actually quite lovely.
Quite underhyped, but that's because literally there's nobody there.
There was nobody there.
There was nobody there.
We were the only two people even visible from it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting juxtaposition when you compare it to the other Little Mermaids.
Especially when it's so much... I mean, I like the Little Mermaid, the story of why the sculpture was made, and it was like this tycoon saw the ballet and was inspired by it, so he commissioned a local artist to do a sculpture. So it's a nice story.
But throngs of tourists,
like tourist boats and tourist buses all over the place, and then this lovely abstractized version of it is like a 5-minute walk away, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. So.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with both of them.
In general, Denmark was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed Denmark very much.
Yep.
I also enjoyed Sweden very much.
But Finland's still better?
I love Finland.
Okay. So let's wrap this up.
Yep.
So thank you for listening to another episode of Junk Fud on the Road, where we talked about
Denmark and theme parks.
As always, you can follow us on Twitter @CandyCritic, or go to candycritic.org and find links to all the other social media that exists that I try and sign up for. So be sure to check that out. You can also pick up my books, Treats and Beasts and Snack Facts, at candycritic.org. Both of them are available there. They're fun books about snacks and treats and candy and that kind of stuff. Be sure to check them out.
Also on Amazon, no?
Well, you can find links that go to the Amazon.
Okay.
They are available on Amazon, but you can also just find the links at candycritic.org. It's faster, I think, than...
Okay.
I don't know. If you want to search...
What do I know?
I don't know either. But thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.